So I see COVID-19 and the pandemic as highlighting the strengths of our community. The everyday heroes looked for ways of taking action, for helping, for giving, and for supporting. Residents coordinated the sewing of masks and gowns. You can see one of the gowns sewn by the church over at the CHC in the bottom left-hand corner. Businesses adjusted manufacturing systems to produce new products such as hand sanitizer and face shields. And service clubs like the Rotarians came to the call when help was asked. New donations filled our shelves, and collectively we shared our praise through window messages, parades of fire trucks, and the banging of pots and pans. Interwoven into all of this was the strength and importance of arts and culture, alive in poetry evenings, eye-catching murals, virtual music performances, colorful messages of hope etched on painted stones, decorating our trails. So just one of the images that I have there in the middle is our Slow Down and Stay Alert campaign. And just as we approach the back to school, which was mentioned at the beginning, I really wanted to highlight the importance. I'm conscious of so many little ones and big ones walking and riding to school with masks potentially on their face, and a lack of unfamiliarity and anxiety about returning back to school. So just to be aware and to slow down and add some extra time. Some of the other pictures on there is a 211 navigator who was critical in terms of connecting our community members to resources in our community. We have our Heritage Park Garden. I'm not sure if you've seen that over by High and 2nd. I think we have had so far over 600 servings of vegetables that have come out of that garden in the last 3 months, which is really exciting. So I saw the pandemic as challenging ourselves to be innovative, to look to new ways of doing. We looked at our leaders, we looked at our connectors, our doers, and our change makers, and in doing so, we began to transform systems. In Collingwood, at a municipal level, we have a couple of platforms that we introduced that are still up and continue to run. So we have the COVID-19 information portal. If you haven't been there, it's a great resource. So located on that portal, there's information on for health, businesses, social support, Ontario government updates, federal government updates, as well as all kinds of other important information. Also in that space, we have Engage Collingwood, and that created a platform for people to ask questions, share stories, specifically as related to COVID-19. If you follow into the Engage portal, if you haven't been into that location as well, it's another great place to learn about different initiatives that are taking place at a municipal level, as well as provide feedback and comments and so on and so forth. So I really highly recommend both locations. So what was really important for us and what we heard at the beginning was an interest and desire and need by the community to connect volunteers to those needs that are identified. So within a short period of time, once the emergency orders had been imposed by the province, we set up the Collingwood Together volunteer portal, which invited residents to put up their hand and say that they were interested in helping. And within a period of 2 weeks, I think we had over 200 interested individuals in the community sign up. And what the challenge was to figure out how we could connect those volunteers to those needs and how we could facilitate that connection. And that's where the Rotary really came to the call. And I extend my absolute appreciation for the support of Rotarians in that quest, for navigating this process with me and creating a successful model I think that we can use in the future for sure. So I'm going to tell you a little bit, if you're unfamiliar with the process of how this works. So what happened was we had a collaboration between 211, the Rotary, and the town of Collingwood. And so when someone calls up 211 and they have a need, they can't necessarily be met by an organization within the community. So something like, and this was a consistent theme with the requests, a senior who couldn't access groceries because they were self-isolating. So 211 would identify to me that they had the request, and I would then in turn connect with Rotarians to look to ways to connect the volunteer in our volunteer portal space to the individual who had requested the need. We thought that we'd have a huge number, but we didn't. We had a smaller number than anticipated. So I think to date we've had maybe 15 to 20 requests in different ways. And we still continue to get broader requests. So for example, one of the long-term care homes recently asked for volunteers to help support the feeding of residents. So something maybe Rotarians might be interested in considering. But we do get some of those individual requests still on and off. The other thing that as mentioned was that we set up the Health and Social Service COVID-19 Roundtable. And so this roundtable consists or fully kind of looks at that collaboration across all of our social service agencies, including health, food access and security, safety, housing, mental health, faith-based organizations, employment, disability, early childcare, and municipal government. And the idea is to look towards ways so we can meet the needs of the community, to identify and measure change over time, and to work on ways of collaborating so that we can change systems. And again, I reiterate the role that 211 has played in this process. So 211 being that location where individuals within the community can call and through the support of the navigator, identify and connect with the social services that would meet those needs. And they've also been able to support us in identifying what the key need areas are. So for example, in our region, which I think really marries much of what's happening in the province, we still have significant calls going into 211 for access to housing, issues around finances, and mental health. So you can see many of the organizations at the bottom who are part of that roundtable. So one of the things that we looked at the beginning, and we still continue, and you can see that be taking place now, is that we saw COVID-19 and the direct implications of the pandemic. This wasn't as local because we had very few cases within both South Georgian Bay and specifically in Collingwood. But with the closing of much of our social services and in offering different programs in different ways, as well as changing that healthcare practice to meet the needs of the pandemic, the uptake or the aftermath, those unintended consequences, and mainly that being around the psychological implications of the pandemic. And so we can see, and especially as related to those caller needs, an increase in mental health concerns and the need for response around. And this last slide is just to demonstrate one of the things that happened within the department that I work with, specifically, and the great team that I have an opportunity to work with around the municipality. So with all organizations, we look to opportunities like today to operate in a virtual world. And Rally Point became that platform that we utilized. It's amazing the things that you can do and new ways of doing things and the benefits thereof of a virtual world. So we offer chair yoga, which I think is not only the participation of chair yoga as a physical activity, but a social connection for a lot of our community. So virtual chair yoga, the museum offers a variety of different programs that you can access through Rally Point. Both of these are also in collaboration with the library. Because of the closing of many of our camps, we introduced Camp Collingwood, which was not only for our young people, but for all ages, celebrating the great outdoor spaces in our community. Another place to kind of check out on Rally Point, and then with music and performances through a virtual platform. And that's it for me. So I open the floor to any questions that you might have, and I'll try my best to answer.
Jennifer, I think you're spot on your curve and the mental health side of things. Has the town got things on the drawing board or thoughts about what they might do through the winter and the fall when that starts to crop up if COVID doesn't let up?
Yeah, so I would reiterate with the roundtable. So one of the things that has happened with the roundtable is that we have this platform for collaboration where organizations can talk to each other around what they're seeing on the ground. Another collaboration that came out of the roundtable was a South Georgia Bay mental health response collaboration. So that's working in unison. And so I think it's kind of galvanizing organizations so that they have the tools and capacity to address those mental health concerns, because they are definitely of concern. And we can see an increase in those calls, both within the hospital context and through 211.
Any other questions, comments? I guess not. Well, thank you, Jennifer. It's nice to hear about the collaboration and the efforts that are being made for this difficult time. So thank you for that. And
no worries. And I really, again, like to reiterate my thanks to Rotary for meeting the ask. It was a big ask and something new and different, and there were lots of unknowns to the collaboration that we did have around volunteers and connecting our volunteers with those needs within the community. And there wasn't that hesitation. There was an openness to have that dialogue and to look to ways to help and really appreciate having that opportunity within our community. It just further demonstrates the kindness and care of an organization such as yours. We continue to deliver that program, and we'll continue once we kind of navigate what potentially the next couple of months will look like, depending on whether or not there will be a second wave and the magnitude thereof.
Great. Well, in appreciation of your talk this morning, we have donated money to the End Polio campaign, and I think 25 children will be inoculated against polio on your behalf. So thank you.